The genius behind our system is also the employee has the opportunity to interview us. Because if they meet Dave and they're like, "Oh, Dave's fantastic. I'd love to be in an organization with Dave." And then they meet me and they're like, "Huh,
not so much.
Not so much." So like it allows them,
no question,
to have buy-in, to have informed view of what working at our company is like. So, and that's one thing with the process of, it's a relationship. So how do you build upon that relationship so it sets it up for success, and you don't then have to then train the person and they leave?
Yeah. No, and I love that aspect of it. You're right, because the employee should have a part of the interview process. They should feel comfortable about where they're going to work. Now, again, hiring for, a larger role in a company versus a line cook or a dishwasher. I mean, so it's all relative to the position you're hiring for. I'm not trying to like make this that this is the only way to do it, but there's a semblance of it that you should follow. This is Restauranttopia.
Right, welcome back to Restauranttopia. Really excited to be back with you guys. Dave, I understand. Yeah, are you? I am too. I understand you got a banger of an episode coming up, and it's called "Good Help is Not Hard to Find. You're Just Bad at Hiring." Way to start it off with an insult, Dave. I appreciate that. Yeah, I love it. I do. Because I know exactly what you're about to say. And listen, before anybody takes it personally, we're going to unpack this. It'll be okay. I promise you.
You'll be fine.
And we still suck at hiring.
Yeah. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
That looks good on you.
Yeah. Easy for me to say. Easy. No, this is a good one, and we've touched on this topic before. This is something that we're close to 200 episodes into this endeavor, but we've talked a lot about this. So this
everybody I talk to, not to cut you off, everyone
I
talk to, I can't find good help. I can't find. Now it's not as bad as it was a year ago.
It's been worse. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but and a year ago I said you had some market pressures, but you've always been unable to find good help.
Yeah.
Like I've never experienced a time in the industry where it was like we got all this good help.
Right? No, it's common, but
yeah. But to Dave's point, I don't know what he's going to talk about. And if you look at the right places and you do the right things, it's not hard to find. You just got to sift through it to get to it.
Yeah, you got to sift through it, and you got to have the right system. I mean, I think this will be enlightening. If you're a restaurateur listening to this, and in the past 12 months, the words have been uttered out of your mouth, people don't work anymore. There's no good employees. There's no, just the typical, on your porch, old man yelling at the kids, get off my lawn, kind of.
No one wants to work.
No one wants to work. Oh, these kids, there's no work ethic. And all this. If those words have come out of your mouth.
I don't say any of it because I've sat with you two too long in front of a camera.
You know better.
Because then I have to go back to episode 37 and be like, damn it, I said this. I can't go back on what I said.
Yeah. That's the great part about doing this podcast. Accountability.
There's been a lot of training.
But if you've done that, if you've uttered those words, all I would ask you to do is go out into your community, go to other restaurants.
And poach their employees.
Well, that's one thing. You could do that, but I'm saying go out. That's actually that's point 6. No, but
cash bonuses go a long way.
But go out in the community, go out into the restaurants around you in the same area you're in. Don't fly to New York or go to Florida, like wherever you're at. Okay, go around, walk around, and just observe if there are good employees working at other establishments that are busy. Mm-hmm. And if there are, you can do it too.
Yeah.
These people are out there. This isn't you're not looking for some magical unicorn. There are still people that want to work, okay? What probably is happening is you haven't talked to enough people, interviews, you had a good system to bring people in, like you said, sift through enough, okay? Mm-hmm. And you probably, once you get somebody that could be a good employee, aren't training them right, there's a whole litany of things. So that's really what I want to go through and kind of just hit on a couple of these topics. But the core message is, it's good help isn't hard to find. It's your process, it's your training, it's your leadership that's probably broken. So I'm just going to dive right in. So hiring myths owners cling to. We just kind of talked about it. Nobody wants to work anymore. This generation's lazy. People just don't have pride. Okay. I think the reality check again is that there are people out there in the labor pool. If there's restaurants out there winning at this, you can do it as well. You know what I mean? But if you're in your own ecosystem, in your own restaurant, in your own 4 walls, and then you're home, and that's all you're experiencing, you could get, that reality could be for you, people don't want to work. Yeah. Maybe they don't want to work for you.
But now we're unpacking it. But
no, that's definitely it.
But that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
And are we using excuses like everyone does in life
Sure.
as some sort of comfort blanket of mediocrity?
Well, yeah, you can blame the environment, not yourself. It's much easier. I think I've shared this quote with you before, but I read a quote a couple years ago, and it said something about how they're concerned about the next generation. No one wants to work. They're entitled. Blah blah blah. It was Confucius who said it. So this has been going on. This has been going on for like 3,000 years.
Yeah.
There's a perceived generational gap, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's like, the kids behind us don't work like we did, and we've talked about the way we've come up.
Sure.
And
It's different.
We all stand on the shoulders of the people who came before us.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there's a lot of great humans out there.
No question. They're being born every second.
Yeah.
But not only that, though, as a parent, don't you try to teach your kids the stuff that didn't matter? Like when you grew up, like the working your fingers to a bone, clean your plate generation that raised us, right? Yeah. We don't like that. We like flexibility. We like customization. We like picking our diet. It's like, I don't want to eat 9,000 calories of stewed deer meat. Like I'd just rather have a few bites, right? Like, so we do things a different way because we don't see the same value.
We'll put that in the fridge for you, and when you're ready to eat again, you're gonna finish this.
You've been Yeah. And there's the trap, right?
Yeah,
there's the trap. But we didn't like that growing up, so then we don't do it.
To tell you a story, my son last night, hard time with dinner. Okay,
Yeah.
He's 8 years old.
Yeah.
Hard time with dinner. He, my wife says, okay, that's fine if you don't want to eat this, but you'll starve.
Okay.
You'll go to bed hungry, basically.
Mhm.
And he responded with, no, I won't. I'll just go to the pantry and get snacks.
Oh,
How'd that work out?
Not good for him.
Nope.
Not good
That's
for him.
when the parents got to play the trump card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not
Like,
good for him.
go look at the pantry because I threw all the snacks away.
Yeah. Or that lock I just installed at the pantry door. But to circle back to the episode, what when owners say good help, what do they mean? So when I say good help's hard to find,
Yeah, I mean,
what are those unspoken expectations include?
I want someone to show up when they're scheduled to show up. I want someone to keep a good attitude.
I think these people that say that is different. I'm gonna give you what it is. I think Brian's going where I'm going.
Because that's what I was thinking.
This is what they want: immediate productivity,
100%.
no training required, full availability, zero pushback, and loyalty without investment.
That's what they want. Yeah,
That's what they want.
That's exactly.
And wouldn't we all? Would we?
Yeah, I mean, I want a golden goose too.
But I'm saying the people that are struggling with this, that's why they're struggling with it.
Yeah.
Because they want to be able to just hire that first interview, and so they show up on time. They know the job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the realistic employee, that's a fantasy. That doesn't exist.
It's like getting a reward with no investment. You're
Right.
always going to have to invest, and you're gonna invest in some people who are going to leave you.
Yeah.
100%.
Or it was a bad pick.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
some truth.
it goes back to Pal Barker. He says that he was asked, like, you do all this training. This is Pal's Restaurant Group. We've talked about it a lot. Look it up, Pal Southern Service. But,
Fantastic.
he says, why do you spend so much time training your employees? Like, it's a huge investment. Why do you spend all that time? What if they leave? He says, what if I don't and they stay?
Yeah. Then that's
I
broken.
mean, like that one gets me every time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what are those hiring mistakes? Hiring out of desperation.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Waiting until you need somebody to start the process.
Predicting that is wild. And then I've been of the ilk, and I know my people don't always follow it, but I put the pressure on them. You should always be interviewing. You don't know what's out there. And so have that
Especially in the restaurant business.
Oh, for sure,
You're going to
because-
have turnover. Like some are better than others, but you're going to have turnover.
It's funny that we pretend that, like, even with some of the best employees, that they don't fall off the wagon in some way. And you roll into a weekend, this person's been there for 3 years, they stop showing up. I see it. You see it happening.
Life events.
Well, yeah, it has nothing to do with you or your organization. It has everything to do with their child care situation or something they've done personally.
The restaurant game is a young game.
Yeah.
And guess what? None of us are getting younger.
Right.
So no matter what you do, like people aren't going to be in this. Maybe they'll be in the industry for life, but they're not going to be probably in that position you hired them at for life.
What I try to teach my folks, and going back to that point, is have people in your hopper, in your stable that you can make a call to. Have them warmed up. So if you lose someone, you got someone to call. Because the process of firing up the Indeed engine or wherever you're recruiting, you're a couple weeks before you get the applicants that you even want. And then you're a couple more weeks of interviewing and everything else. And then you're a couple.
If you have the patience to wait that long.
Correct.
I'm saying, but that's what happens. You end up rushing. You rush
Correct.
the interview.
Yeah.
You rush the process. You start selling the job
Yeah.
instead of being realistic, you start sugarcoating everything.
And then
we don't work more than 4 hours a day, and you never have to work weekends, and nobody works after 8 o'clock. And
that always works out really well. And even better is when you overpay these people because you are desperate and you're willing to do it. And then your tenured person who's been there for 15 years finds out that the newly hired person with less experience and no loyalty to you gets the same pay. Yeah. That always works out so good.
Yeah. And so get that hiring process down. And again, this episode isn't about like a step-by-step, like we've done those episodes and you can figure that out, but just have a process, you know what I mean? And I agree with Anthony, have it be a continuous process, not a stop and start. Now you may have a sprint and a jog and a walk, but have it always happening. Always happen.
One of my managers come to me and says, well, we don't need anybody. Why am I interviewing someone? I'm like, well, why not? And it's like, well, I'm not going to give this person a job. I'm like, well, no one gets hired at every interview. And you're expanding networks. It's not a waste of time for either one of you. So stop looking at like you're wasting this person's time.
Yeah. Well, we have a pretty arduous process at Hillcrest on how we hire people, and Anthony probably knows a little bit about it.
The same as it was 10 years ago, or no? Because that was wild.
Yeah, So we call it the process, and we say we got to go through the process. We got to trust the process. We go through the process. It works. What I mean? So there's been over the years people that have kind of poo-pooed that and like, well, we meet somebody 4 or 5, 6 times, and then we don't hire them. I feel like we're wasting people's time, and I'm not comfortable with it. I always say to that, like, you're only wasting somebody's time if you're wasting somebody's time. So as you meet a person, and I meet Anthony for the first time.
It's so stupid simple, but so true.
But right? Yeah, I'm saying so I meet Anthony, okay? Yeah. I think Anthony's a piece of crap, not a good human being, low likability, and probably isn't a fit for our company. Yeah. If I take that interview and send it to Brian and go, hey, I think you should meet this Anthony guy. Yeah. Now I'm wasting your time. Yeah. Okay. But if I go, now Anthony's, I'm wasting Brian's time. But I'm like, if I meet Anthony, I go, okay, great human. Okay. High likability. Okay.
This sounds so much better.
Could be with us for life. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We could change their life.
Yeah. It's happened.
Okay? He's fun and he's a little competitive.
That's good.
Then I'm going, hey, Brian, I think you should meet this guy. Yeah. And then Brian thinks the same thing. Yeah. And the excitement level goes up a little bit. Yeah. And then I say, hey, Steve, I think you should meet this guy. And then excitement level goes up a little bit. Then all of a sudden, now we may get to a point where it's just timing and whatever it is, like it's not going to work out. But like, I always explain people that process that we're going to go through. And so they don't feel like it's a waste of time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But you also have those employees that they're like, okay, it's a phone interview, it's a live interview, it's a panel, and then it's a offer sheet. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're that more corporate, like, okay, this is how it's supposed to work. Yeah. I let people know up front, like, this isn't how it's going to work with us. Like
the genius behind our system is also the employee has the opportunity to interview us. Because if they meet Dave and they're like, oh, Dave's fantastic, I'd love to be in an organization with Dave. And then they meet me and they're like, not so much. Not so much. Yeah. So like it allows them,
no question,
to have buy-in, to have a really informed view of what working at our company is like. So and that's one thing with the process with it's a relationship. So how do you build upon that relationship so it sets it up for success, and you don't then have to then train the person and they leave.
Yeah. No, and I love that aspect of it. You're right, because the employee should have a part of the interview process. They should feel comfortable about where they're going to work. Now, again, hiring for a larger role in a company versus a line cook or a dishwasher. I mean, so it's all relative to the position you're hiring for. I'm not trying to like make this that this is the only way to do it, but there's a semblance of it that you should follow.
I agree. I think it's a matter of time and duration versus system. Mm-hmm. The system may be very similar, just the duration and the intensity of that system is less.
Yeah, because they're on 20-minute deadlines in restaurants, and in distribution, you're on 2-day deadlines. Is wildly different.
Yeah, but I'm saying you may have a hiring manager or an HR, whoever the first interview is, that could be 10, 15 minutes, and it's like, hey, let me introduce you to the GM.
Correct.
Yeah, or that 15 minutes is like, hey, thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No. And that's great. That's a great process. And so you take the line cook position, the process for that, right, and then you take the executive chef position.
That's a whole process. Yep.
It's but you cannot put all your eggs.
But you have to define that process for those different levels. Yeah.
But you got to have a process. I think that's where people fail, that they do have a process and it is just shit.
Yeah. So we talked about the hiring, part of it. You have to have that system. It should be ongoing. You got to have some sort of process that everybody buys off on. Okay. But why are people not staying? Okay. Because why do you need to hire? Because people leave, right?
We're looking in the mirror again.
Yeah, this is a full on this is like self-reflection.
Not telling me I'm the fairest of them all.
He's not telling you that.
Yeah.
So you got holes.
So let's go through a couple things. Why do good people not stay? Okay. Maybe expectations change.
That had to be number one, right? Had to be number one.
Could be it.
Maybe they're unorganized.
Yeah.
Maybe leadership is unorganized.
Yeah.
Maybe training depends on who's working that day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Schedules feel chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
Feedback only comes when something goes wrong.
If you only, what did he say? Remember Paul Saginaw said that? He said, if you only let them know when they got it wrong, you got it wrong.
Yeah,
and I love that.
That was Zingerman's. Right?
Yeah, it sure was. It was a good day.
It was a culture workshop.
Yeah, it was a good day.
And that's a generational
good
thing.
sandwiches too.
Because as you know, as the listeners know, Anthony got me the sign, lack of criticism is praise enough. Like that's maybe not, I think I said cultural, but generational. Like it is a mindset of the employee. Like we live in a participation trophy culture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this generation needs a lot of attaboys, attagirl. There, oh my God, I've seen a lot of people clean their station, but the way you did it was amazing. But you're also reinforcing good behavior too.
Can I be honest with you? It doesn't bother me in the least bit. It's easy. It's easy for me to hand out compliments. You know what I mean? So
but if you're not wired that
but not
way,
everybody though. Yeah,
you need to be self-reflective and say,
am
I wired to do this, or am I very Machiavellian, a dictator, and this is how I run things? You got to be self-reflective and say, hey, I need to adjust the way I approach this.
Yeah, I'm gonna double down on that, because I think we're in the hospitality business.
Yeah,
we're in the business of making people feel good. And how many years did I'm not gonna, I don't know, work my life away in this industry for people who made me feel like shit.
Yeah.
And my goal and my job is to make people feel good, yet the people directing me make me feel terrible.
Yeah.
How does that work?
No, and you learn that lesson firsthand. But I feel like as leaders now, this generation is weak, or is whatever you want to call them. They're teaching us. That's not the way things should be done, and we're not going to tolerate it.
Well, no, you should allow them to teach you.
Right.
They're only teaching if you let them.
Yeah,
and I think what we're talking about is the failures of people who don't open their minds and say, I'm learning from these people. Like there's no servitude in that leadership. And I think you have to have that, because what are you without your people?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
No question.
And you look at how you treat customers. Your employees are not your customers, but they are stakeholders, and you have to, again, no one's telling anyone to go overboard and not, call out bad behavior or coach people up or to train and retrain and train again. But you can identify good behavior and compliment it and encourage it and be more of a positive environment.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah,
and it's rents due. I got another workers' comp claim. I got this going on.
That is tough mentally. You got to overcome it.
Leadership's not easy. Like if you're in leadership for the pay, like just do something else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the whole point of leadership is you're going to do those hard things. Like you got to be the person that takes on the most difficult challenges and handles them.
Yeah. What's more fulfilling than that though? And then on the side,
but not everybody's, again, to his point, not everybody's wired that way. Like, I would tell you, like, people want to accomplish things, no question. Like nobody wakes up and's like, hey, I'd just like to do a crummy job today. You know what I mean? Like people want to accomplish and be recognized. But if you're going to be a leader, like you have to be willing to take on the hardest challenges and overcome them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Is success more important than your ego?
Yeah. And again, like Brian says, if you're not wired that way, well, you know what wiring you're going to be worried about is the freaking electric. They're going to shut it off because you're going out of business. You know what I mean? Like that, I mean, you're worried to be like,
that's true.
But I want to do a beat on training a little bit. So like, so part of keeping employees, we got to train them, right? Because, we got to be consistent. We got to, make sure that we don't fall into those pitfalls of like, again, depending on who's training, that's the training's different depending on who's there. The new hire feels lost. You had a great example, maybe last year about your daughter got a job and
a Giant Eagle.
And she really tried. You know what I mean? But it just, the training just failed her. You know what I mean?
She'd still be working there.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
She would be employee of the month every month. And I'm not saying it because I'm her dad. I'm just saying it's because that's the type of kid she is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what was the actual cost to that company to hire her, replace her?
$5,900.
Yeah, $5,684.
Mr. Cornell over here incite the case study. But at the end of the day, how many people came after her for that position?
Yeah.
Which she would still be there.
Right.
Yeah.
And to think of that, butterfly effect or domino effect, whatever you want to call it, that why do good operators and people who follow these types of systems not have the stress you do?
But guaranteed,
it's because you're
no
not doing
question. But guaranteed, the person that's in charge of the training at that place, probably still today says, people don't want to work. Everybody's lazy. Yeah. This generation.
It's the easy way out.
Yeah. So I would just say
it doesn't have anything to do with me. It has everything to do with them, not me.
Yeah.
Where does that get you?
Yeah. So I would say the rule for training.
Staff. Great excuses.
The simple rule of training, and this could be a whole season of training could be a season of podcast episodes. But I look at the rule of training as if it's not documented and repeatable, it's not training. Yeah. You know what I mean? So just stuff that in your pro notes. Let's see what else here. Stop blaming the employees. Or again, you go back to, you made a comment about cleaning the storage room or cleaning the cooler or whatever it is. Have the expectations aligned. Just because hey, go clean the walk-in, and then the employee thinks they did a great job, but you're like, not so much.
Yeah.
Well, why? Why didn't they know what you wanted?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So have the expectations aligned.
And make it easy.
Yeah.
I mean, make it easy. If you've never cleaned a walk-in before, is there a laminated picture hanging there? This is what it should look like.
Right.
This is what organization looks like.
Yep.
Here's the 10 steps. We don't have to go to the manual. It's in the walk-in, ready to go. So everyone knows that this is the standard. And does that make it easier because the line cook is putting stuff where it needs to go, not just where he likes it?
Right.
Because I hide it up here because then no one else touches it.
Yeah.
No, it goes in slot A.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you don't give me those parameters, I'm going to do what I feel is best. And what I feel is best may not be your preferred method.
Yeah.
Or what's easiest.
Yeah, for sure.
And be open to feedback. Listen, just because, and again, I love the PALs the best known way. So if an employee comes to me with an idea to say, hey, I think we should put this here for this reason, and I'm like, you know what, that actually makes sense. Then you change the procedure. You know what I mean? But don't change your standards and then hold people accountable to those standards. People want to be held accountable. People want to do a good job. They want to get recognized for doing well. You know what I mean? And so I think
that starts out with telling them how to do a good job.
No, for sure.
Right.
But holding them to that. Not again, it goes back to the organization, episode where, hey, Anthony's got a lot of things. He's got a lot of meeting recaps, but he never follows up on them. I know I can slide by. I can just get out of the meeting. I could just sit there and go, okay, Anthony, sure, and then not do anything because he's not following up.
You're gonna love my episode. I mean, this is so key to today's leadership because it has everything to do with the leader and nothing to do with the employee.
Yeah. No question.
I should say nothing to do with the employee, but it starts and stops at the beginning with the leader.
Yeah. So if there's good help out there, how do we attract that good help? What are good employees looking for? Okay. They're not looking for perfection. Okay. They're just looking for predictable schedules, clear expectations, fair pay, consistent training, leaders who know what they want.
Yeah.
And people they enjoy being around.
People that, right.
Yeah.
Which, when
serving a purpose.
Put all those things together, you probably have that.
This is a long process to do it right. So if you're listening right now and you're like, oh God, I can't ever do this. You got to start now because also when you bring that good employee in there, you do all of what Dave's saying, and then you bring them into the system and the other people are like POWs and you've abused them and stuff like that. That's it could poison your new employee.
No question.
It's like,
well, you got to be careful who trains.
Yeah.
Right?
But who trains and how well are you doing to executing this strategy to have better employees, better culture, better hiring?
Yeah, and I think you just made me think of something new, is that if you've got, let's say you've got this core amount of people. Maybe there's like 3 or 4 people that have been with you a long time. Okay. But you have so much turnover around them.
Yeah.
You might want to look at those people. You know what I mean? Like maybe that core group of people is partially why you can't retain employees.
Typically, would be asking for their insights.
Yeah.
You know, and be like,
No, but you gotta look at it. Like, I agree.
Because all of a sudden, those 3 or 4 people are just hazing new people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And nobody stays.
I look at this number all the time when we're looking at KPIs, the turnover number. But I look at it. People have turned over within 6 months, within a year, because your lifers are your lifers, and they are there. So you may not have a problem with lifers, but you have a definite problem with short 1 year, 6 months, whatever that metric is. So you could look at, my turnover rate's only, in the restaurant business, like 55%. So it's probably 100%. But what is it of the smaller group?
Yeah. And breaking it down,
it could shock you.
Yeah, and I think I've seen great leaders go, if somebody stays 90 days, I have 80% chance that they're going to stay a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they stay 6 months, I have this much of a chance that they stay 2 years. You know what I mean?
That's a cool thing.
But you gotta dive into those numbers.
But it justifies doing the investment.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So what are the takeaways? If you're an owner, you're a manager, you're running a restaurant, here's my takeaways for this episode. Okay. Slow down hiring, speed up retention. Okay. So slow your hiring process down, have it be a constant thing, not a pedal to the metal and then nothing. Continue to just have a nice pace of interviews and hiring people.
Can I add to that though?
Yeah, please.
Speed up your firing too.
Yeah.
Because and make it fair and pragmatic. But the fact is, just as we talked about, you have lifers there that they show up every day, but they bring a ton of baggage to work that poisons everybody else. So you got to make a move.
And if you're holding your managers accountable for turnover, let's say, I've seen this brilliantly done actually in our organization in operations, because that's where we have most of the turnover in drivers and warehouse and all this stuff. They actually don't count towards turnover the first 30 days.
Yeah.
Oh.
So if they make a hire and the person that made the final decision to hire that person, okay, they have the ability in the first 30 days to let that person go, and it doesn't count towards turnover.
Smart.
So you think about it, like in the first 30 days whether somebody's going to work, in the first week whether somebody's going to make it or not.
No, the rest of the month is just confirming your belief at that point.
Right, but what happens? We hold on, and we want for it more than them because
we've got to do the hiring process.
Because then we got to do it all over.
Or we got a conflict of interest. I don't want to work on Saturdays. I don't want to do this. I got something going on, and then we slowly decline. Right? It's a wild proposition. It's a difficult one.
Yeah. So we hire for attitude, train for skill. Okay, we've talked about that a lot. Stop apologizing for your standards. Okay, keep them high, keep expectations.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's how we do it.
Fix leadership systems before blaming labor. Okay, so before saying there's no good people don't want to work, fix your leadership problems, and then build processes to allow people to win.
Yeah.
And so that's what I got, guys. So quick one, but I think this is important. Good help isn't hard to find. Work on your leadership.
Yeah, I think that's what it boils down to. And to go back to what Brian said, I don't know if this takes a long time, Brian. I think establishing the infrastructure to rival that of a Chick-fil-A or a Pal's or a Ritz-Carlton takes forever.
Yeah.
You got to have some high salaries putting those programs together. But really, you could start today with just changing your behavior. And really, that's all it's got to be. I mean, I think if you march to the beat of a different drum as a leader, your employees will too. No, at first it'd be weird because like, what got into this guy? But if you can keep that up consistently, and I find too in leadership, a lot of times we put on a mask and we pretend to be what we think is a good leader, but it's not really us. And you've probably seen this phenomenon quite a bit. Where you're like, you've talked to an individual and they're sweet and kind, then you see them in the leadership realm and they're toxic and mean, and they think that's how they should do it. It's like, well, why not just be yourself, right?
I agree. And I think you guys will really like my episode, not to do a shameless plug, but it's about execution. Yeah. So you have the idea of
firing squad, or
I always enjoy those. Panera, inside joke. But it really comes down to doing it. And my episode will go into how you execute and make sure that happens and that it's consistent and has that, good to great windmill effect, and it keeps moving. So Dave, great episode. I think this is so important because what you exposed was, and Anthony's comment, but you exposed it, is it's all it's you as the leader. It's you that needs to step up, and it's not your employees of the generation or social media or the newfangled whatever. Like,
we got to raise our game.
Yeah, and to add credibility to that, understand all three of us are sitting at this table are leaders in lots of capacities. So we're not just hecklers sitting on the sideline. This is stuff we do every day. This is the mirror we look in every day. This stuff we think about every day.
Yeah.
And I want the listeners to know that, because it's easy just to cast stones, but we walk this walk too. We live this life. We're in it with you.
Yeah. So no, I appreciate you guys, and check it out, restauranttopia.com for the show notes, and we'll see you next time.